Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Talk About It. My name is Anne Bowiscus. I'll be your host today, and I am so incredibly grateful that you are here and you are joining me. If you have never tuned in to Talk About It podcast before, it is a post-grad centered podcast that posts every single Wednesday, and I am so grateful that you have decided to tune in today. You guys, I'm getting sentimental. Today is the last episode of my first 5-part series. Oh my gosh, you guys, it doesn't even feel real. It doesn't even feel real. I feel like I've put so much time and so much love and so much energy. This podcast and this post-grad series within this podcast is like my little baby right now, and I can't even fathom that it's just poof done, like poof gone, you know? After this episode, I will be moving on to other topics. We'll be switching it up a bit. I don't know if you guys are sick of it or if you guys like love it, but I can't even believe it, you guys. This is crazy. I hope you have enjoyed listening as much as I have enjoyed speaking and talking about all these topics. We have truly gone through everything under the sun when it comes to post-grad and some of the uncertainties that we might have. And I hope that you listen and you feel heard and you feel seen and you might feel excited about it. And today, you guys, ending our 5-part series, I have a very important guest coming on today, and I'm so excited for you guys to meet her. She is amazing, she is inspirational, and she is such a great human being, and I am so grateful to have her on this episode talking about today's topic, you guys. So let's just go right into it. Yeah, the only thing that I want to just like put in here is, yes, this is a new mic. You will not believe the day that I had, you guys. I bought 2 of the same mics when I first started podcasting just because I knew that I wanted to bring guests on, but I didn't know when or how it was going to work. I was just like, I'll just buy 2. And let me tell you, it was a migraine to try to figure out today. Oh my gosh. I was running around, stressing, crying, throwing up. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so moral of the story, bottom line, we're cutting it to the end. I had to get a new mic. So, yeah, new mic, but LOL, we're kind of evolving. Not by choice, but, you know, still evolving. So that is why she is new and she's silver. So we're like switching it up a bit. You probably, those watching are like, what the heck is that? That's new and that's bulky. Yeah, she's a little heavy. So if audio today is a little funky and a little weird, ignore it. Okay, LOL, you guys. But let us dive in. Let's get our mindsets in check. Okay, let's get our mindsets in check. Let's talk about one of the hardest things that comes with graduating and entering a new season of life, saying goodbye. So let's talk about saying goodbye. Hello, you guys. Welcome back. I am here today with Lindsey Soderberg. Hello, Lindsey. Those who know, this is our second take. Okay, but we got it. Lindsey is a mindset coach and has her own brand that she's built from the base up. That is called With Love by Lindsey. Yes, slay girl. Okay, and you focus specifically on athletes' mindsets, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, but Lindsey does like a lot here and there with everything. So I am so excited to have her on to chat with us today about all things post-grad and all things amazing and wonderful. Lindsey, let's start from like literally the bottom up. Tell me about your post-grad journey.
Okay.
From the beginning, your timeline, go.
Okay. I'm so excited to be here. First, I need to start there because I just admire anybody who's helping build a brand and helping just share light into this world, which is literally what you're doing. So I'm so excited to be here. And when it comes to kind of how I got to where I am and just the beginning of my journey, when I graduated from the University of Iowa, it was winter of, I think, 2022. And I moved back to my hometown in Minnesota. And yeah, it's winter. It's dark. I just graduated. I'm like, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know where to start. I had a corporate job lined up. I had done a few internships with this company. So I was feeling okay on the job front, but I knew that like what I studied, I got a degree in computer science. And I was not like passionate about computers, coding, anything. But I was like, you know what? It's a start. It's a good place, whatever. And I think at that time, it was just a lot. You know, it's just a lot. You're overwhelmed with adult life. You're not sure how to say goodbye to a chapter. I do feel like when I was leaving college, I felt ready to close that door, which I know is not the case for everybody. But yeah, I just remember, and then being back in my hometown, being back, I went to school, like I said, in Iowa, so that's like 4.5 hours from where I grew up. So being back home too brought up things from high school that I didn't deal with, things from childhood that I didn't deal with. Like just kind of everything was like coming to a head.
Yeah. And
yeah, I didn't really know where to go with that. I did have in college a teacher recommend to me the book The Artist's Way. And this book I started doing around this time of post-grad. And basically it's a course in self-discovery to kind of rediscover your creativity. So I was like, you know what? I'll start there.
Yeah.
And I started doing the Artist's Way program. And actually I just restarted it again 3 years later. So we can get to that later. But that was so fun. That's so fun. But going through it the first time, a part of it is like you're journaling and there's prompts and there's things that you go through. It's like a course basically. And I think that really helped kind of start to give me direction in my post-grad experience because I think that's a big thing that people struggle with is they don't know where to go. You know, it's one of the first times in life where there's no direction.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, go do this or whatever. It's like, I just have to figure it out.
There's no right way.
Yes. And it becomes open-ended. And I think that having that prompt of like just to reflect and what questions to ask yourself and just journaling and stuff like that really helped me ask myself the questions of what do I want. And when I say that, I didn't have an answer right away.
Yeah.
You know, like it wasn't like, oh, I know what I want. And I think that's so real for a lot of people. They don't know what they want and that's the problem. But I think just starting to ask yourself those questions is so powerful.
Totally.
Because it just helps us get into that element of like play rather than survival, which I think is where so many of us live. And that's kind of what school teaches us.
Yeah.
I'm on a long tangent.
You got it. No, I love this. I love every minute of this. I'm like, yes, keep going. Yeah.
Okay, so long story short, I'm doing the Artist's Way. I'm doing this journaling. I'm figuring things out.
Yes.
I worked this corporate job for a year-ish, 2 years.
Yeah.
And
yes, corporate. Yes, corporate.
Okay. And I over time was like, hey, this is not sustainable for me. You know, I was just doing this corporate thing. I had started coaching, which I loved, and like I spent 5 years away from dance. I grew up as a dancer and then spent a lot of time away from it and was trying to reconnect with things that brought me joy. Yeah. Which was helpful. So coaching was helpful for me, and I just kind of started dabbling in things that I liked. But I kind of would say what I hit was like a rock bottom. Okay. You know, I was like really just unhappy kind of with where I was at in life. I remember there was this one conversation, well, multiple conversations, but the single one that I remember the most with my boyfriend. We had been together since high school, and I was just kind of talking to him about complaining, basically about like my life. I'm like, this sucks. I'm unhappy, blah, blah, blah. And he, being the great partner he is like, Lindsay, if you don't like it, change it. Yeah. And I was so rattled in that moment. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I can't change it. And the more I sat with that, I was like, no, you're right. Like, no one's going to change my circumstance for me. No one's going to make it better. You know what I mean? I think Mel Robbins says this a lot. Like, no one's coming to save your life. No one's coming to do the things. And the more it sat with me, I'm like, okay, like, I can either stay here and continue to complain and continue to bitch about my reality or do something about it. Totally. So I started to do something about it. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll go back to pursuing dance. So I slowly started doing that. I had played with the idea of building my business, had no idea what that would look like. Originally, when I was trying to just get back into my creativity, I was interested in writing. So I'm like, maybe this will be like a blog or something like that. At the time, I was also really interested in like fashion. So I was like, a little fashion blog? Like, I don't know. I just kind of started playing around, and basically one thing led to another, and I ended up trying out for an NFL cheer team and made that, and that was an incredible experience. And I think that community kind of unlocked the next step in my journey. And from there, I was able to start kind of moving forward with like the business aspect, and it went from a blog to maybe helping dancers to now what it is a mindset coaching business. So I think the biggest part is just getting the ball rolling and just taking the next step. And I think it's so easy, and post-grad to get overwhelmed with like, well, I don't know how to build a business. I don't know how to do the end goal. But it's like, but you know what next step to take.
Yep.
And how can I take that next step and then take the next step? You know what I mean? Like baby steps rather than the full picture.
Totally. It's so much harder to do that huge leapfrog jump, and it's so unrealistic because we have to take those baby steps, but like the baby steps can almost be more intimidating sometimes than the leapfrog jump, because you're like, where do I even like get started and, you know, begin everything. I really liked what you said too. I feel like I resonate a lot with when you had that conversation with your boyfriend, you said, and how he was like, no one's gonna start this for you. That's exactly how I felt with like my journey as well, where it's so easy to just say what you want and like put it into like the world, but it does take action. And one thing that like stood out to me that I've talked about before, like on my podcast, is like having respect for yourself to actually do what you want to do. It's like when you're in a job, you know, your boss tells you to do all these things and you're like, okay, like I'll do it because I respect them. Well, what do you do when you tell yourself you want to do something? Like you just sweep it under the rug. Like it's such a powerful thing when you actually put your mind to it and you respect yourself enough to like do it, because you are going to be the only person that actually like gets that done, you know? So that like resonates with me too, because I felt that way. And I think that is something that I've really taken to drive post-grad as well, because like what else am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I'm either gonna sit and do nothing and like sulk, or I'm gonna like actually plan my life out and like act accordingly. That's awesome. Do you think that you've always been a very strong mindset driven person, or has it taken you a while to kind of get there and begin that journey?
Yeah, I think I have always been. Like when I think back to myself, I've always been very driven, like within, I think dance gave me the easy lens to do that in. You know, it's whenever you're in sports or anything as a child, like I feel like you have that kind of motivation. But there's definitely ways in which during college and after, right in that early post-grad, where I feel like I kind of lost that spark for life, and it took big effort to get back to that. But I think the more that we can fall into play and like being curious and just seeing what will happen, like life is not that serious, but we feel like it is, and everything feels like it, like if you're making a decision on what am I going to do with my life, or what do I want to, like these are all huge decisions, but if we can like eliminate that weight to every decision and be like, well, I'm just gonna try it, like who cares, why not, like let me just try this thing. I think that's what helped me get back to that place of being strong in my mindset and stuff like that, because it can be hard when you feel like it's a big weight about it. And earlier when you were saying keeping your own word, and it's kind of like a self-respect thing, it reminded me of something that I think I originally heard from Myron Golden, I think is his name. He's got great content. I love what he posts. But he once said this, and it stuck with me ever since then, of like the word confidence coming from the word confide. And like when you tell somebody something, it's because you trust them and you confide in them. And if you feel like you don't have that high confidence within yourself, it's probably because you continue to break your own trust. Right? If you tell yourself you're doing something and you don't do it, no wonder you have low confidence, because you don't trust yourself. And so if you say you're going to go to the gym, go. That's how you're going to build the confidence. Not because you're stronger, but because you do what you say you're going to do. So I think if you're feeling like you've got that low self-confidence, or you're not feeling super confident in your own word to yourself, find small ways that you can like build that up, whether even if it's something so small, like I'm gonna make my bed this morning, so small, but then you do it, you're building that habit of doing what you say you're gonna do.
100%. That is really powerful. I'm glad you said that. Oh my gosh, that's sticking with me now, girl. Oh my gosh. I'm literally like, wait, okay, new like motivational thing on my mirror. Like I'm gonna put that on a Post-it note. Oh my gosh. But tell me a little bit more of With Love by Lindsey. I want to know like the story behind it, because obviously you said you kind of started building that out. But what was like the inspiration behind the name? What like really pushed you into that front door of just like throwing yourself all the way into it and like making that your current full-time gig?
It's so funny when I look back on like the creation of With Love and just the journey there, because I genuinely don't like remember it, which is just so funny. And I think it took probably the course of like a year, and seriously, when I say there are small acts of play, like I'm just like, I don't know, like whatever.
Just doing it.
And I think when I was going through like the Artist Way program that I was talking about, and just journaling and whatever, like I genuinely believe every aspect of With Love came from God. And like I didn't even choose the name. I didn't really choose what it would be. Like I felt like it was given to me, and I'm just delivering it to the world.
Totally.
Which I think that perspective also helps me. It's not always easy, but it helps me not worry so much about like what it is or what it looks like. It's like that will be decided, and I'm just here to do the work as it's being told to me, if that makes sense. So, and the way that I was able to kind of strengthen that like inner voice and hear what it's supposed to be is through that journaling. I'm just like a big advocate for journaling. I think that like you can be unconscious, like on a conscious level of something, but your body knows or your heart knows what it wants to say. And so like just letting your finger move the pen, you know, can get the answer out, even if it's somewhere within you, you just can't place it internally, if that makes sense.
Do you do like journal prompts, or is it just like as you feel, like you just write?
Yeah, I just do brain dump every day, 3 pages. Yeah.
It's like a camera roll dump, but like with your brain.
It's literally, like I just sit down and like, who knows what, I don't know what's going to come out.
No,
I don't. And so I'm a big advocate for it. And if you're feeling stuck, write that down. Yeah. Because a lot of times, like when we're stuck on something, like for example, if I'm tired, like we just say, I'm tired. We have that loop in our head. But if you're writing and you're forced to continue writing, what else? Like, why are you tired? Yeah. You know, like it can guide you like past the like initial door and like into the room, so to speak. Totally. So yeah, a big advocate for journaling. But when it comes to now what my business has become and kind of that journey, it really is for me like a way to give back to who I was and like what I could have used in my dance journey and in life. You know, there's like that quote that's like, you're most powerfully positioned to serve the person you once were. Yeah. And so I think that this with love in this business has really become a way to serve the person that I once was. And growing up as a dancer, like I've always loved dance, and like I mentioned, I was very driven. I was willing to work hard, and I felt like that almost became not a negative, but I felt like I was trying to earn my place and earn the right to be there. And especially when it comes to like danceability wise, I was like, I'm not the best turner, the best sleeper, the best whatever. Totally. And so I really had a hard time finding my value like on a team or in a space. I'm like, well, what value do I bring if I don't have the highest kicks or the best turns? 100%. Like, what value do I have here? And I think what would have really helped me at that time is having somebody or a way to help me understand my own value, which is exactly now what I provide and hope to provide for dancers and teams and even coaches too, because if you don't know your value, like that's just making it so much harder on yourself because you have value and there's a reason that you're there, and it isn't always tied to your physical ability or, you know, and in a non-dance context, like job salary or job title, it's like you have value as a human being first, and then work, profession, whatever, second, 100%. Dancer second. And so that's really what the business is about, is spreading that message and giving resources and training for coaches, for teams to help their dancers and themselves identify their value and how we can leverage those to be a stronger team together.
Totally. Oh my gosh. I love that, because that was something that was really hard for me to learn. I think once you get older in that atmosphere, especially like as a dancer, you know, we relate to that because comparison is unreal. Like it is the devil in our lives.
It
like,
really is.
But not even just like with other people, but even just like as you're constantly looking at yourself in the mirror, you're like, you know, how do I look today? How do I feel today? And then you're looking at someone next to you who can like bring her leg up like Tate McRae, and you're like, girl, I ain't flexible like that. Like, no, I'm not like that, Miss Girl. But it's such a true thing, and I think, I mean, comparison lives in everyday lives, right? It's like one of the hardest things that we have to fight constantly, because how do you not compare? You know, like how do you not look at someone's who they are or their content or, you know, their physical ability or their even just how they look, right? And get, you know, down on yourself for not being able to reach that level, but instead like flipping that switch and like using it to make you grow, you know, and become better and know your strengths, not just like trying to be like them, but be the best version of yourself. That was such a hard thing for me to learn. And like, I think even now, just the kids growing up these days, like you probably see it the most is they want to look at what they can't do. And the first thing that they say when they try something is, I can't do it. You know what I mean? Like they have that, I don't say mental weakness, but it's just like they don't have that like positive enforcement in their brain of being like, even though this is hard for you, what can you do? You know, I'm sure you see that all the time.
And I think social media is a big aspect in that. I mean, like growing up and seeing like you see someone like Tate and doing 1,000 people
Miss
like
Tate McRae, girl.
literally queen. But you know what I mean? It's like they're comparing themselves to the best of the best. and which I think can be good. And I don't want to villainize social media because I don't think it's a resource and it's a tool, but it's gone too far without any guardrails. And especially with young kids who have developing minds, it's like, how can we teach them to use it as a tool and teach them to, instead of go into comparison, like self-destructive comparison, how can we have them flip it to inspiration? Because when you see someone that's very talented, like, if you can get inspired, that's one of the most beautiful things, right? Like, like when I was a young dancer, I have so many memories of looking at the older girls at the studio with, like, probably hard eyes in real life. Like, I was like, oh my God,
no,
like,
literally.
you are a real life angel. I'm obsessed
I want to
with
be
you.
you.
Literally.
I want to be you, Miss
like,
Girl.
it's just so special. And I just remember being so inspired by that. But I think when there's the screen element, that inspiration is maybe harder to find, and it becomes more of comparison, or I could never do that, but you could. You genuinely could, like, if you wanted to. So yeah, I think it's hard with the comparison aspect though. But when people understand that instead of comparison, we can lean into celebration of what you're really good at, does not mean I'm bad at everything else. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can I celebrate you and myself at the same time? Because then the world just becomes a party. Like, if we're all just celebrating each other,
100%.
like, that'd be
if
so
we're all
fun.
winning. If we're all winning, like, that's something that the world can be, right? If our mindsets are shifted in the right direction. How do you feel like your business, and just like as you've grown with this, you know, process, and you know, your baby, your dream, right? How has this grown, and how has it made you grow even just stronger, like from where you started to where you are now?
Yes. I think what's so interesting is, like, oftentimes what I'm teaching, I'm like, I need that lesson for myself. You know what I mean? It's like, I need to take that too. But I genuinely think that building a brand, building anything, is the biggest form of self-development there is, because it forces you to, like, confront all the limiting beliefs and doubts that you have about yourself. So I would say, like, that, this first year, I'm just past a year with my baby, with love. So we're just past 1 year. So the first, like, 8 months, and honestly still to now, it's like fighting those really deep-seated doubts of myself, of like, what makes you think you can do any of this? But it's like, but I know that I can, and I know that, like, God wouldn't have given me this, like, idea or this passion or this, like, this idea, basically, to unless it was for me to act on it. And but it does take, like, I just think it's every step of the way, the only thing limiting is me. And so it's been confronting, but I think it's been beautiful. And it's gotten me so much stronger in just everything that I believe, because it's tested it. And I think once you've been tested in so many ways, it either strengthens ideas or lets them fall away. And through this process, I've just been reinforced time and time again that, like, I'm going to do it a different way, but the way that I do it is how it's meant to be done by me. And other people are going to do things their way, and that's the way they're meant to do it, if that makes sense. Like, we all have a unique approach, and our unique approach adds value to the world. So I think just continuing to lean into that has been so important. It's still important for me to remember.
I love that. It's so cool, not even to just see your baby, see your baby grow, but, like, also just how you grow. Like, I even noticed it. I mean, I'm, like, at this point, 13 weeks, like, into this podcast journey, and I'm like, who's that girl in that first video? Like, that's so different. And, like, it's so interesting to just, like, be a part of, because you are a part of the journey as long as everyone else is. You know what I mean? And so, like, that's so beautiful.
I want to say kudos to you for... It's one thing to grow privately. It's another to grow publicly and to be putting yourself out there. And, like, that first video that's out there, like, I've been on TikTok for a few years. Literally, like, I think I started my TikTok right when I was probably a little bit into post-grad, but again, those first videos, my hair was, like, down to here before I chopped. I'm like, who is that lady?
You're like, she's a stranger to you, and she's a stranger to me.
No, but, like, I think, like...
No one pulled it up in my wedding.
I know, no one go looking now. But,
don't dig.
But I think that just speaks to your strength of...
Thank you.
It takes a lot to be public, you know? It takes a lot to share your life publicly and to put yourself out there, even not on social media, but if you're showing up for anything, like if you're in a new job or you're in any space where it's requiring you to be bold and to show up, that's scary. And don't forget to like celebrate how impactful that is that you decided to show up.
Yeah, that's such a great reminder. I feel that it's just like you're constantly thinking about more work and more things and what can you do better and comparing yourself. Like I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But like celebration is like people don't participate in it enough for just like the little joys, you know? And so like that's such a great reminder, just even just with yourself and like, yeah, how you've grown. And like I do need to celebrate myself more. I do need to celebrate the podcast more because like it's been such a great journey, you know? And when you start to take a step back, you know, then you get to appreciate it and you're like, oh, like I am proud of it. But in the moment when you are having like a busy time or like it's chaotic and you're trying to figure out mic stuff and you don't know technology, like, bruh, I that's where I hit my crash out, like a Huda level crash out. That's where I hit it, bruh. But no, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. We met like literally
I think
once
we did
in passing like a minute ago.
I was literally thinking about that earlier today. I'm like, have we met in person? Because I think it's so weird when you're like when you have like the social media friends kind of where like we see our stuff. I'm like, do we know each other?
We're
like kind of.
I'm like, I know you and I met you once, but like this is like our genuine, I think, first like real interaction. And we were just really deep and like a great conversation there that like I had to slide that in there, being like, we've met in passing once, we have mutual friends. Like it's there, but like it truly is so fun to have you on because like I love your content. I love your words of wisdom. I mean, it's so passionate, it's so real, it's so authentic, and like I think that speaks so much to just you as you and also your brand and like what your brand speaks for, you know, and like the ways that you are able to motivate the younger generation and just yourself, you know. I mean, it's everyone. It's not just the younger generation, but it's everyone. And like I think it just speaks so much volume, you know, to who you are. And
thank you so much.
I do have like a fun little questiony.
Yes.
But you did NFL cheerleading.
I did.
I want to know about the whole experience and how that like shaped you. Okay.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that wasn't, I mean, you could have been like a completely different person now if you didn't have that experience.
100%.
We've all seen the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, Let's
but
get
like,
into it.
No, but just NFL cheerleading, period, point blank, period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it has been transformative.
Yeah.
I mean, for everybody probably.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we all, it's like kind of it's like a fun thing to see from your rookie year beginning to after rookie year and beyond if you keep doing the team. Like, everyone has that glow up, like that rookie glow up. And it's like, it's not like looks wise, but it's just, I truly think like confidence wise, they like, each team puts you in a position where you're going to be your most confident self. Yeah. And I think it's really cool. But for my journey specifically, so I mentioned that I had spent 5 years away from dance. So when I was getting back into my creativity and wanting to pursue dance again, and I was like, well, what would this look like? I don't know. And the team that I tried out for came up, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll try NFL. Like, that could work out. If not, maybe I'll look at other things. Totally. But I think I missed at that time being a part of a team. Yeah. Because being a part of a team is so special, and post-grad, that's hard. Like,
you lose your community.
You lose your community, and I think it's a really, it's a challenge to be a small fish in a big pond. And I really wanted that community back, specifically within the realm of dance, but we could talk too about community outside of a team because that's also a thing.
Totally.
But so that's what brought me to thinking about doing a team again or trying out. And then I was like, well, is this even possible? Because I don't have my splits anymore. Like, I haven't danced in 5 years, you guys. Like, it wasn't like I was dancing on the side and like I said I haven't danced. Like, genuinely, like, I didn't take a single class. Like, okay, maybe I took one.
Like one in the 5 years.
But like I seriously like wasn't stretching. I mean, I was being active. Like I loved a group fitness moment. I was coaching and coaching group fitness and coaching dance and stuff. So I was still like somewhat involved in like fitness, but I was nowhere in the dance world. So it did take a lot for me like to put myself out there as a dancer again because that's scary. Like it's very vulnerable to like show up again and comparison back to that, it's like I'm looking at these other women who just came from the best college dance team and I'm like
you're like
I haven't danced in 5 years, like how am I supposed to compete with this?
This is a joke.
But that's when I was when I was doing it, I was like, the only way I'm going to make this team is if I know who I am and I know what I bring. I will not make it if I show up and try to be like her, because I won't be like her.
No,
because
exactly.
I took 5 years off, and probably even if I didn't, I still wouldn't be like her.
I feel that. Like, even if I had better flexibility, better turns,
wouldn't work out.
I would not be her.
Yeah, so I was just like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it like as authentically as I can, and just try to be myself, and just I was ready to just do it as honestly as I could. And shout out to, I worked with the Prep Talk, so I'll give them a shout out. Nicolette's incredible, and she helped me with this. Just finding like my own confidence, and just making sure I'm doing it authentically in all aspects, not just the dance aspect, but also in the interview prep and in how I'm showing up on a resume. Like, I just wanted to be authentic through, like, across the board. And yeah, so when I went to try out, there was definitely moments of doubt, like, through that process. It was definitely, like, a really interesting season of life, like, going through that audition, and I would have days where I was like, I feel incredible, like, I feel aligned, like, this feels amazing, and then there would be days where I'm showing up, I'm like,
what's happening?
It's not working out.
You're like, this is not my day.
No. Yeah, which I think is so natural, but when it came time to audition, I was just like, you know what? Whatever happens, like, I know that I did this 100% me, and if it is a right fit, it's a right fit, and if it's not, that's okay. And I think that that's also really important to talk about, because people will let outcomes define who they are, and they'll let, if they don't get a job, or if they don't get team placement, or if they don't get whatever they're seeking, they will turn it around and be like, well, I'm not enough, or I didn't XYZ. And obviously it's maybe easier for me to say this because I got the outcome I wanted, but genuinely, when it was like that, kind of that last week in auditions, I truly felt like I gave it my best effort, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Because I tried my best, and I know that whatever happens is God's plan, and if it doesn't work out, that's okay, and if it does, that's also incredible. So just remembering that if you don't get the job you want, or if you don't get whatever you're aiming to go after, that doesn't mean you're less than. It means God has a different plan for you. So don't worry. Don't stress.
I think too, like, I mean, I talked on this on, like, one of my episodes within the series as well, the finding a job, and it was like, you don't just have to take no as like a never. It just might mean not right now. And it's like, it is your perspective on, like, the rejection, or like the no, or the situation that you're put in. It truly is your perspective on it. And if you want to take it and turn it into a negative, it's going to be a negative. But if you want to take it and turn it into drive, and like something that you could grow from, and you can use in your future, and to, like, you know, get that position if you truly want that position, or to redirect you into a different position. Like, it truly is your perspective on the situation. But that's such a hard brain switch, because when we hear no, it's so deflating.
And it feels like a shut door in your face. But I think if no can be an invitation on what can I learn, because how can I keep growing, whether it's for this to come and try again, or it's something else, like, there's always lessons to be learned. So I agree, it's hard to get a no, but when it came to finding out about, like, the team, I remember, like, the day of, like, they're like, okay, if you made it, you'll get a call from, I think they said, like, noon to, like, the times were, like, roughly noon to 3, and I'm like, okay, perfect, and if we made the team, we had practice that night.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm, like, kind of all day, I'm like, you know, like, that day goes the slowest ever. I'm like, you know, I'm just waiting to find out. I'm like, what's the verdict? But it was crazy, because I just, like, had this gut feeling. I'm like, I really feel, like, I feel good. I feel really good. And then the day kept going on, and I think it got to around, like, 4 p.m. And I hadn't heard, and I was like, well, if I made it, I need to go to practice. So I started getting ready, not knowing. I'm like, well, I'll either find out. I know, I'm like, I mean, but if I find out, yes, I need to... I need to be ready. And so I start getting ready, and at first I was, like, kind of in the trenches. I was like, maybe I was wrong, like, maybe I miscalculated this whole thing. And so I was sad, and then I was like, you know what, no, like, I feel good, I'm gonna stick with that. And then I got the FaceTime that I made it, and it was one of the most incredible moments. And to talk about the journey as a whole, kind of more high level, not so detailed, it was really incredible. Like, it genuinely was really transformative. And I think that when I look at my time from when we started, what I was kind of opening on this podcast with, about post-grad and just kind of being in the trenches, basically, like, really just going through it, and it felt like being a part of this cheer team was a like big stepping stone into starting my business because the community of people that are on this team, I like to think of the team honestly as like, I don't know the right word, but it's like a think tank of geniuses.
Yeah,
like,
no, for
seriously
sure.
a room full of incredible women who are going after what they want. There's like all sorts of career paths in that room, but everyone's so creative and a go-getter and a cheerleader for you.
Yep.
And so I think that it almost felt like God kind of placed me into that room. One, to have the experience of being a cheerleader was incredible, but also like to encourage me with that community, like use them to help you step into this next phase.
Totally.
Like continue to do the thing. And that's when I actually quit my corporate job.
Oh, wow.
Was probably a month after I made the team. And I want to be clear, it wasn't, the team didn't pressure me to do that. Like they encourage all sorts of career paths.
Oh, yeah.
But I think for me, it was like, I've already been fearless and came back to dance after so long. How else can I be fearless? And so I was kind of like, I've already gone that direction. Let's just send
Keep
it
going. Yeah, literally. You're like,
so
what do I have to lose at this
in
point?
hindsight, I could have been a little more calculated. I probably should like saved a little more money. Like I probably should have done it a little smarter. But I was like, screw it, let's quit.
Well, yeah, and also like if it's not filling your cup and you don't find fruitfulness in it, and like you do feel God pulling you in a certain direction, and you are feeling the fruitfulness of that direction, like you do have to kind of just like dive all in and commit to it. And like if that's what He's calling you to do, and you hear His voice, like you were saying, like you distinctly heard His voice and what you wanted to do, like that is so powerful. And like who's to argue with like the power and the goodness of God? Like, bruh, I'm just waiting.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love my job, but it's a true thing. And so like that's
it
amazing.
was an interesting decision too, because I loved the company that I was at. I really liked my coworkers, and so it was like hard to leave. But I think that's the cool thing about when you start taking those small steps and doing the things that you want.
Yeah.
You know what they are. Like, you know what that next step is. And the second you start to do those baby steps, whether you like it or not, it starts a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And, like, once that snowball kind of gets big enough and it's rolling down the hill, even when you want to stop it, it's like, we're going.
No,
we're already
literally.
going. Like, it's
like
happening. And it's
too
like,
much momentum. It's too much
momentum builds. But I think that's kind of how I got to quitting my job. And then, incredible cheer season. And I ended up recently retiring. Okay. So I did just the one and done season for now, and walking away from it was really hard too. Totally. But my boyfriend and I are moving. We've been doing long distance for like the last 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
We've been together 8 years.
5 years. Holy crap. How many miles?
I don't know the miles. So first, we've been all over the place. So I was in Iowa, he was in Colorado.
Okay.
And then there was a time where I was abroad and he was still in Colorado, and then he moved to Bemidji. Okay. And then I was in Iowa. And then I also was in Bemidji, but then also here.
You guys are travelers. You guys are movers.
Seriously, it's like, so it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
But
so finally.
So we're moving. So that's exciting.
Gosh.
But so when it comes to the cheer and dance aspect, I'm just like, you know what? It's a closed door for now, but that doesn't mean forever.
Yeah. I mean, look at where you were after you had it. Like, you're unstoppable at that point. If you've done it once, you could do it again.
And I think that's given me a lot of, like, peace of, like, kind of walking away from it for now. It's like, it doesn't mean it's forever. Yeah. And I think that when we're making decisions, whether it be for a job or for whatever purpose, like, we feel this finality with leaving something, but there is really no final closed door. Even if you walk away from something for 20, 50 years, it doesn't matter. Yeah. You can go back, not necessarily to dance, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but you can go back to whatever it is in some capacity. Totally. So it's like, closing a door or shifting or changing a pattern now doesn't mean you can't ever return to it.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, the door doesn't have to be locked.
Yeah.
Like, it never has to be locked.
Yeah, exactly.
It could just be like,
slightly
closed. Yeah, like, knob ready to turn. You know what I mean? When you're ready and when you're able to. Totally. That's such a great segue into our next conversation. I do want to talk a little bit about like the things that you have seen and the things that you see, I guess, simultaneously with the groups of people that you work with in terms of just, especially our generation, like our mindset, our motivation, our drive, like what is the common theme here? And like, how have you also challenged yourself to work through those things? Because it's not just like people that you're working with. Like obviously you've had to work through those things like on your own. So what's like the commonality right now with like mindset and motivation and just like reaching your goals and like starting to like be confident in yourself before you just like put yourself out there?
I think that with our generation specifically, whether it be through social media or I don't really know the cause behind it, but I think that our generation are go-getters.
Yeah.
it may not always seem or feel that way, but I think that when we look at, maybe it's because we've seen the possibilities of social media or of even people like influencers or something like that, where like they're making a lot of money just doing what they like. I think that our generation has a bit of rebellion in us, where it's like we want what we want, and we're gonna do what it takes to get that. So I really do applaud a lot of our generation for that, and I think we're not willing to settle for less, which I think serves us in a lot of ways, because there's no point in settling. Like, it's not going to pay us, you know what I mean, in terms of fulfillment. And I think that's something to weigh. Like, that you could choose that kind of secure path, so to speak, but there's always going to be that trade-off. When it comes to, like, our generation, and specifically the people that I work with, which is a lot of high school athletes, and coaches of those athletes, which is a lot of young coaches for the most part, but there's kind of all walks of life, honestly. But I think a trend that I've seen recently is towards emotional maturity. And the current athletes of today and our generation demand this emotional maturity from our bosses, our parents, our superiors, and the people above us. And I think that it's a really great invitation. I actually just made a TikTok about this, that it invites them to continue to grow, and it helps us just all kind of understand each other better when we're in that emotionally mature space. So I do think that there's positive change happening in this world, which is really exciting to see.
Totally.
I think when it comes to motivation, we were kind of talking about that, but I think that when we look at the motivations of our generation, I do think the thing that's motivating them is the deeper meaning of life, rather than that kind of surface level security. I think when I'm obsessed with like generational trends. I think it's so fascinating. Like, I love having conversations with my grandparents about, you know, like, what were your parents like, and what were my parents as kids like? You know, I love conversations like that. And what I find really interesting is that, so like our parent, or like my parents' generation, they grew up with like wars and stuff happening. So they really valued like financial security, like security in the home, like those sorts of things. But then a lot of our generation, we grew up, for the most part, this is obviously a generalization / stereotype, but for the most part grew up with some level of stability. So a lot of us aren't valuing stability as much as valuing the deeper meaning of life, because we may have seen the generation above us sacrificing their fulfillment for stability. And so we want the opposite of that. I think generations kind of go in that flip-flop order where they're always going to prioritize what they didn't have. And people value what they didn't have at one point. And they want to get that in the future. So I do think I see a lot of pursuit of the deeper meaning. And when it comes to like competition and stuff like that, whether it be in sports or in just daily life, I think that the youngest generation right now gets like a rap of like softness. You know what I mean? Like, people are like, they're just soft or whatever. But
whatever that means.
I know. I'm like I think that they're not as hard hitting in terms of like wanting to win and stuff like that. But I think it's just they have this understanding of there's more to life than winning. And it's like, these other things matter first. Yes, we'd love to do well, and yes, we'd love to place well, or whatever the case may be, but they also want to feel heard, valued, seen, and have those relationships nurtured first, from what I've seen. So I think that it's an interesting trade-off of that kind of pursuit of excellence versus kind of those basic needs being met first.
Totally. That's a really interesting, like, understanding too of it, because I feel like I see that totally, but you don't like obviously break that down and like the generational, like, what's the common trend and what's the common theme that people are feeling and seeing and going through, especially just like through social media. Like, we obviously have a lot more exposure than like our parents did to what everyone else is doing in the world. And so there's a lot more that we might be insecure about than our parents were insecure about, especially when it comes to like friendships and dating and all this kinds of stuff. Like, we have like a different outlet to that, you know, because of social media and because of the exposure that we have. But that's such like an interesting take on that as well, because like, I feel like I haven't really thought about that in that way, so that's really interesting. But kind of moving on as well, when it comes to that, like, that generational like understanding in that generational struggle that people are kind of dealing with, how do you feel like you have had to challenge yourself to kind of, I guess, help to switch that in that way? You know, for the people that you see and the athletes that you talk to, and like even just in what you put out there on your own for your own platform, like how have you been working on your own to just like kind of switch that narrative?
I think a big thing is that empowerment of what can I learn?
Yeah.
Like, how can I learn in this situation? And it goes back to like the no one's gonna help you or no one's gonna come do it for you. Like, truly, I think we're at an unprecedented time of resources at our fingertips, literally. Like, even we were talking before we started recording ChatGPT, like there's like, you have like literally unlimited resources at your fingertips. And I think that with that, like, we can use that, and it gives, if we let it, we can turn it into this place of empowerment. Like when it comes to athletes, or if you're pursuing a profession, YouTube or TikTok or whatever, tutorials on everything you could ever imagine. Like I look at some of the athletes now and I'm like, I'm amazed at how you learn this. But I'm like, but it's out there. The information's out there. And when I think back to, I mean, we kind of had like YouTube and stuff like that growing up, so it was like a little bit, but if you think about like the generation before us, like if they wanted to like learn something, it was like they either had to have a teacher like specialized in that, or it was like encyclopedia or something.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
I don't know.
Guess trial and error.
Like, so it's like we truly have, if we let it, the most information. So it's like if you want to pursue something, it's learnable. And the only like thing that would keep you from that is those internal blocks. And this is something that I've learned through my experience of like, when it comes to starting a business, or when it comes to even like going back to dance and stuff like that, it's like the only thing blocking me from doing that is not because I don't have the information or because I can't learn, but it's if I have a block that says I can't, you know what I mean? And if I don't feel worthy of trying it, or if I'm like, if I try it, everyone will hate me, or, you know, like we have these internal kind of blocks that keep us from pursuing what we love. And that is kind of the barrier. And that's where it goes back to either journaling or therapy or a relationship with God, or whatever it looks like. I think if you can just, I think the first step with that is acknowledging like the block, like acknowledging it, because oftentimes, and there's a lot of biblical reference that actually supports this. It's like just bringing it into light is enough to dissolve a block, and becoming aware about something that's blocking you is enough to dissolve its power in your life. And a lot of the times with those blocks, they scare us. Like they make us feel unworthy or shameful or fearful or whatever the case may be. And so we often push or hide, or we don't want to look at it because we're scared if we look at it, we'll see something we don't
keep
like.
Keep it in the dark.
Yes, we want to keep it in the shadows. And when we can instead look at it and just let it exist there, oftentimes we realize it's not the big scary monster under the bed we thought it was. And usually I feel like with my own experience, it's really just a piece of myself that I maybe had left behind in childhood, or I had adopted somebody else's story about me that isn't true. And when we can just look at it, it dissolves its power. And that allows us to actually remember who we are for real, and not the lie that we've been unknowingly holding on to in order to actually go back to pursuing the thing we want to, because all the resources are there.
Totally. I love that. I love the bringing it to light reference, because I think that that's so real. In terms of like people graduating post-grad, I mean, I know I felt this. I wonder if you felt this, you know, like when you graduate such a ever-changing 4 years, or however many years certain people go to college for, you know, you can fluctuate depending on what you go for. But like whenever you graduate, I feel like you never like leave your true self, right? You leave knowing more about yourself. But I remember when I first graduated, I was like, I'm looking forward to what I am going to be, and like what I am going to learn in these years, you know, versus just like what I went through and what I had to figure out in these like 4 years. And so I feel like people enjoy that, you know, that ability to grow, but it's super scary. And so that's why a lot of people like to remain comfortable and like go back to their college bar, or like keep hanging out with like certain people who might not fulfill like their needs, or like their true, like what they're craving in a relationship, right? Like it's so much easier to just go back to what they've been handling,
like
and what,
settling.
yes, exactly. Settling in what like they've been going through versus like truly reaching your full potential and like embracing this new year and these new years, these multiple new years. I think that's it's a real thing, but it's so scary to do because it is completely different and completely foreign. So how do you think, just like even taking a look back at your first post-grad year, like how do you think people are moving on from that and maybe saying goodbye to that chapter? But I mean, we've talked about this, like not fully closing that door because there are such great things from that room, right? But we're moving to a different room, right? So how do we kind of allow that to push us to be better, you know?
Yes. I think that one of the hardest things about leaving college or leaving any phase of life is a lot of the time we let that piece of our life be our identity.
Yeah.
And so we have a hard time leaving because we feel like we're leaving ourself behind.
Yeah.
Like as a student, you feel like, well, I'm a student. And then you graduate and you're like, well, if I'm not a student, then who the heck am I?
Yeah.
And that's actually something I went through when I was in college, because that was my first time not being a dancer. And that dancer identity was something I carried my whole life growing up. And then when I went to college and wasn't a dancer for the first time in my life, I had to ask myself those questions like, oh my God, who am I?
Yeah.
Like if I'm not this title, then what am I? And I think that is an invitation to ask ourselves like the questions of who are you besides being a label? You know what I mean? And how can we discover our true essence, not tied to labels, occupations, am I a student, am I whatever?
Yeah.
It's like, this is the start of what will be now your life and understanding your own essence. And when this is actually something I guide athletes through and coaches through, to help them understand their essence. But when you're thinking of it, some of the questions you can ask yourself is, what are your strengths? What do you enjoy doing? And when you're doing the things that you enjoy doing, how do they make you feel? Because those feelings that, for example, if I like coloring, the reason I like coloring is because it makes me feel creative. So that creativity could be an aspect of my identity, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how can we find identity in the aspects of who we really are, meaning that it's this essence that we carry in every single room that we walk in, regardless of the room, because that way when a door closes or a chapter closes, it allows us to not be attached to that chapter and that identity within the chapter, but knowing that you're going to be the same self, just deepened in every new situation. And I was able to actually put that into practice then after my year as a cheerleader and walking away from that. I'm amazed at, yes, it's hard to walk away from something that I love so much. Like, I love the team. I love the experience that I had.
Totally.
But I have this inner knowing of, I know who I am and I know what I bring to a space. I know, like, my strengths and kind of, just who I am outside of an identity. So as I'm leaving this identity of being a cheerleader, I'm not so worried that I'll not be okay, or you know, it's like I actually feel this sort of ease and calm inner knowing because I've done that work to understand my essence outside of titles. And so I think that for all my friends that are graduating or they're in this post-grad era and they're like, I'm so lost, I don't know where to begin, begin by asking yourself those questions of, like, let's go back to the roots of, what do you feel the strongest when you're doing? What do you love doing? What do you lose track of time doing? And another powerful question is, what do you feel like is true about you but other people haven't yet seen? So maybe you feel like you're a great leader but you haven't had the opportunity to showcase your leadership. Maybe you pursue something now post-grad that allows you to step into that leadership, because I think that is a beauty of this post-grad era. It's one of the first times where you genuinely can pursue whatever you want to pursue.
Totally.
And there's endless opportunities with that. You can move anywhere. You can live anywhere. You can, like, there's so many opportunities. And so when you can start to ask yourself, well, what do I want? And not what do I think I want, because those are two different questions. And this is where you really have to use your discernment and be honest with yourself, because when I went into computer science and studied that, my first job post-grad, my corporate job was web development. Like, it's funny now looking back, because my life is so far from that. But what's interesting is that when I'm honest with myself about why I pursued that, I'm good at, like, kind of math naturally, so I think I use that as kind of a cop-out. But really, I thought that if I chose, like, a career that was respectable, like, if I told people I was a developer, I studied computer science, they'd always be like, oh my gosh, you're so smart. And, like, my ego liked that, you know what I'm saying?
Like, you know what, I am. Like I would say that about you. I'd be like, girl, I'm
but I was doing it for the wrong reasons. And that's my point, is, like, I didn't want that career because I am passionate about the career.
Yeah.
I wanted it because I thought it looked good to other people, and I thought that they'd respect me more, or I'd get paid more, or like, you know what I mean? I did it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, when you do that, you won't be fulfilled, and there'll always be that piece missing.
Yeah.
And the longer that it's missing, it's like that spark in you for life is going to diminish, and that's exactly what I saw with myself.
Oh my gosh.
So when you can answer those questions honestly, if not what you want because you want other people to think something about you, you know what I mean? But like, what do you genuinely in your heart want? And why? You know, is it to earn respect of others? That's not the right reason. Is it to be paid more? That's probably not the right reason, right? But when we can ask ourselves those questions genuinely and be honest with the answer, that's when you know the next step. Yeah. And you have that conviction over like, okay, what am I pursuing in my life? Because you've been honest with those questions.
Yeah. Totally. Girl, yeah, I feel it. It's so hard to do that too.
It is like, so hard.
Because you have to be emotionally mature and like you have to be someone who is not afraid to hold themselves accountable for like the true honest reason, because a lot of times we're like, no, that's not the reason, but like deep down, like there's a little bit of you that knows that that's the reason. You just don't want to admit that because that says what about you? You know what I mean? But also like we all have that little part of us that wants to like, you know, go into something when we get fed like that we're good at it, right? Like a lot of the times when you're younger, I mean, my parents were like this too, but you know, they were like, you'd be so good at this. You have such a great stage presence, like da 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 da. And it was like so easy to feed into that because you're like, yeah, like that is one of my strengths. But like, even though that is one of my strengths, what do I want to do? Like, is that what I want to do? And it takes a second to just like separate yourself from like what other people are saying about you and truly just listen to yourself and like your heart. And I think, yeah, that's like such a real truth, you know? When it comes to, I feel like these two words have such powerful meaning. Hello and goodbye. Ooh. Like welcoming something is so much more exciting than saying goodbye, obviously. And I feel like when it comes to college, you experience both because like when you're first going into it, you're like hello to everything that's new, right? But then with just college itself, you know, we all know like these are the greatest years of your life. I don't know if I believe that, but they are very influential lives or influential years of your lives, right? So like when it comes to that hello versus the goodbye of college, I feel like a lot of people forget that next hello, you know, of like, but we're hello into like this new part of our life. And so when it comes to like even just the power of like the word goodbye, you know, what do you think like we can do, or like is little things that you've even seen or heard in terms of like just that switch in your brain of being like, it's not a negative, it is a positive. You know, we've kind of talked about this, but like goodbye, like that's such a sad word. Like everyone is in that season of sadness of like, we're leaving our friends, we're moving away. But how do we switch that to being like, no, it's not just like a negative goodbye. Like this is also another hello.
Yeah. I think the power is what you said, like saying that second hello. And I think a lot of people don't do that step. They say goodbye and they stop there and they're like, well, now where am I? Like they're floating around in this like in between, but it's like choose to accept this next phase and choose to walk into it with an open mind. And I love that you bring up like the verbiage of it because I think that is so powerful. Like me focusing on journaling, I'm like imagining little journal prompts like saying hello to what, but it's like choosing what you want to focus on and what are you welcoming into this new phase of life. Like finding ways to be grateful and like finding those aspects of gratitude, even if it's like hello to no school in the morning. Yeah. You know, beautiful, stunning. Like
no homework.
You know what I mean? No like what hellos can we say and what ways can we find that gratitude? Because I think that's the basis of it is what can we leave feeling grateful for? You know, like when we're saying goodbye, what can we take with us? And what can we be grateful for that it happened? And what can we look forward to? And if there's things that you love from college, you don't have to stop those things.
Facts.
Like if you have great friends in college and you're sad to leave those friends, guess what? You can keep having a relationship with them.
It might be a little different, but like they still are your friends.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Totally. It might look different. But or if like the thing you loved about those friends is that every Thursday you got coffee or you know what I mean? Like go like either with find them or new friends, find that. Like find the things that you like loved from that era and implement it in this new time. Yeah. But I think that a big thing with moving on from college is there's fear that nothing will live up. But it will. Yeah. You know, it will. It will. Like, and I'm only 2 years out, but Wait, maybe 3.
She's like, are we budding 3?
Time is
Maybe.
going quick.
Let me count.
Yeah, but I'm like, even looking back, I'm like, I'm so much happier than I was then, and I imagine it's only gonna continue to go that way.
Yeah.
Like I see people all the time on like my For You and whatever, and they're
Yeah.
like, 30 is like incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'll
That's
be
just
excited
like,
for my
life
30.
does
It's
not
wrong.
end when you're 22.
No.
Like for real. Like I think that
And we're only 22.
it's like genuinely
crazy.
like so
trippy.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I feel so much older, and then you get to be a baby again.
Literally,
You're
like
like,
when
I
I
know nothing.
like, it's actually funny. Like when I graduated, I was like, I am an infant.
Yeah, no, I know nothing.
I am an infant again because
don't ask me anything.
no. But I think that, like, I think with that, we should welcome to our hello conversation. We should welcome back play. Like you're an infant again. Play around. Like if you loved, I don't know, knitting when you were a kid, like bring that back. Like if you
bring it back.
You know what I'm saying? Like return to those childlike joys that you had and see where they lead you now as an adult, because I think a lot of times we leave those behind in high school and in college pretty much because I feel like we're judging each other, and you know, it's just a crazy time. But go back to those things that you loved, and I think see what doors they'll open for you, and if it's nothing that you want to pursue, at least see what lessons are there from like your younger self that want to tell you something now in the present.
I love that. You are so well spoken, girl. I love this. Did you do like any communication or anything, like, or have you just always been good at public speaking?
No, I just like to talk.
You just like to talk. I feel that. Hence my thing. Talk about it. Like I could talk for hours, girl.
Yes, I love it.
I mean, I went to school for communications because I was like, I need to make something of it.
That's a very smart of you.
Yeah, you know,
very strategic.
I'm like. I know I need to do something with my voice.
No,
it's like
that's so good though.
Yeah, you know, we're building off of our strengths. Look at
love
us.
it.
I did want to talk about your faith.
I would love that.
I did want to talk about your faith because you posted one thing, and I have it written down, so mind me as I just look at it. But it was the video that you posted. Excuse my words. And me talking about how well I speak and then me stuttering. But, you posted a video on the things that you do when you spend your time, like instead of worshiping, like how yours was like on coffee. Like you think like what you're soaking in your day and like what you're focusing on in your day, like what you spend your day thinking about, and like you touched base like on how I felt this because I was like, get it, yeah, like that's so real. Like we focus so much on like the earthly things and what's in front of us, but like imagine if we were to like every day that would be our thought of God, like instead of like looking forward to like coffee or like daily walks, even though those are great to look forward to, but like like the little things of just like God, like those little things of those reminders. So I want you to just like kind of like speak that again into the podcast for those who might not have seen that video.
So to cover like what the video you're talking about is, for me, it's coffee. And this is the most recent conviction, which we can kind of talk about my faith journey as a whole, because I think that would be cool. But just to share this video, for me, I find myself, like, if I'm stressed out or something, like, I almost, like, turn to, like, I'm like, I just need to go get a coffee, and then I can tackle this thing, and then I can do the emails, or I can get out of bed, or whatever, you know, I'm like, I wake up, and I'm like, coffee. It's actually, like, not okay.
Girl, I don't know if it's just me, but, like, sometimes I look forward to it, and then my coffee 2 hours later is still not finished.
Oh, no.
I'm like, what's going on?
I was gonna agree with you, but I'm like, mine's gone.
I was like, I feel like I, unless I, like, really
need it. It's, like, the idea of it.
Yeah, it's the idea of it. That's
like,
it's the addiction of the idea of it.
It is the addiction of it. And, so the video is about it's about what if we turn to God in that same way. And my conviction when I made that video was like, I should be seeking God as hard as I'm seeking this coffee. But to go kind of more into my faith journey, I've always like been like, I've been praying kind of as long as I can remember. I grew up like not in the most faith-based family, but we always prayed. We always went on holidays. And so it's always been like kind of the foundation. But I always did seek it out. But when I mentioned to you guys earlier of in my kind of post-grad era, that like rock bottom moment I had a very detailed time where I was coaching at the time. I was frustrated at my job. And I have a very vivid memory of I couldn't do it all on my own. Like, I just felt like I was trying to carry all this. I was trying to like completely help the team that I was coaching, and I was trying to just trying to do everything on my own. And I had this moment of like total surrender, and I'm like, that was like the time in the most recent era of my life where I was like, God, I need you. You know, like I cannot do it without you. And that's when things really started to change in my faith. And I think that It's no coincidence. Truly, the timelines of everything. Like, I feel like I've told you in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
But hopefully you're starting to kind of see parallels, because I think they all really coincided of my corporate to starting my business to cheer, like that timeline. Also with me doing the artist way and journaling and reconnecting with myself and surrendering to God. Like, the 3 timelines sync. And I think that I think it was designed that way. I think they all served each other. You know what I mean? And they've, all, like, one of them couldn't move without the other, if that makes sense. And so when I had kind of in that moment been like, God, I don't know what I'm doing. Please just guide me.
Yeah.
My faith had completely renewed. I had gotten baptized like 2 years before that. Like in my kind of adult life, I got baptized again in college. But it was different, like, this time, you know, in kind of just the solitude of my room, like, just pleading out to God, like, I need you.
Totally.
And since then, it's really been a crazy experience, because I think that God has met me, like, every step of the way, and he's been so patient.
Yeah.
I actually heard someone on TikTok talking about this, where they said that God healed their heart first, and then their, like, appearance and actions. And that's when I saw that. I remember, I wish Emmy.
Oh, Emmy Moore?
Yes.
Who's, like, Brookins now?
Yes.
I love their wedding.
Yes,
anyway, but yes.
It was her testimonial. I think it's, like, pinned on her page, actually. I just saw this. But when she said that, I was like, oh my God, that's exactly... That's exactly how it feel like it happened for me. Over, like, the course of right when I was kind of building that business, I had quit my corporate job, and pretty much all of my time during the day when I wasn't at cheer was, like, healing time. And I felt like I was journaling just all the time, and I felt like God was really doing that inner work on me of, like, get rid of the things that I don't tell you about you. You know what I mean? Like, get rid of the stories
Self-doubt.
that you've adopted over time, but they're not from me. And cleanse those from yourself, because they're not for you. And I think through that, there's 1,000 synchronicities, 1,000 little, like, perfect moments of lessons and whatever. And I felt like he healed my heart first. And then now in more recent times, it's been more convicting on my actions. So really cleaning up how I'm acting, and who I'm around, and what I'm pursuing with my time, and all of those things. That's
your heart
been
posture.
Yes, absolutely. That's been the most recent thing, and it's been a gorgeous journey. Like, truly, like, I love it. It's brought so much joy into my life, and the people that are in my life. I mean, even to be here with you, like, just I think the people that it's brought into my life, genuinely, I'm like, just I'm just so happy.
I love it. No, and it's crazy too, because you forget how, like, he has it all planned out. Like, this was
crazy.
in his desire for, like, this to be what it is today, and for us to meet the way that we met. And, like, even just, I mean, this is my favorite, like, analogy when it comes to speaking about Christ, but, like, he constantly is just, like, knocking at our hearts. Like, he's just waiting for us to just, like, we keep referencing the door. Like,
it
keep
is crazy,
up.
actually.
Yeah, that's our, like, theme today.
Okay.
Okay, look at that theme. But he does. He keps knocking at our hearts and knocking, like, at that door, just waiting for us to open it, because he is there. Like, he's there ready for us, like, when we are able and when we need him. And one thing that's, like, really stood out to me too is it's like, anyone who, you know, even if you're, like, I don't want to say, like, lukewarm Christianity, but that's such a thing right now, where it's like, when you grow up, especially, like, always praying or always doing this, you don't actively obviously seek God, like, in the ways that you could. And so, like, therefore, like, lukewarm is, like, the way to describe it, because it's not, like, passionate and proud yet, but it's, like, on the way to being, if you, like, choose that decision. But when it comes to that, like, there's that amazing, like, wonderful shift that happens, because you know he's there. Like, you know his truth. Like, you know he has a plan for you. But until you actually open up that door, like, he has all those gifts available. And I think, too, like, a lot of people get intimidated because they're like, well, I haven't prayed in forever. Like, and I've sinned so many times. And one thing that's really stood out to me, I was listening to one of my podcasts or something like that. I think it was Ali Yost. I've been listening to her podcast a ton, but she's amazing too, just in the ways that she speaks about God and, like, the truth of, like, the Bible. She really reads through the Bible, but she was saying how, like, he's, like, just obsessed with cleaning up our mess. And so, like, when we're ready to allow him to just, like, help us in that cleaning process, like, the party, the celebration that we're having, we don't have to clean that up, like, alone. Like, he's there to, like, be there with us in the whole process of, like, planning it, you know, seeing it through and then cleaning it up and celebrating it with us. You know what I mean? And so I think that is so beautiful, just in terms of how you've always kind of had him there, but like he really spoke to you in really significant ways. Like people will often just like chop that up to just being, this is like what's meant for me. No, that's God. Like that's truly God just like telling you that this is for you.
And
you
I think if you're listening to this and you're like, I feel like I can't hear God's voice, something that I feel like I've learned through this just journey is that like if you feel like you can't hear him, go back to the last time you did. Because a lot of the time I think that like we hear something and we don't want to hear it. So like, no, I'm gonna go over here. But God, I can't hear you. And he's like, I told you something and you're ignoring it. So go back to what I actually
girl,
told
open your ears.
Yes, like, and that goes back to like what we were saying about being genuinely honest with yourself, because only you can do that. And you know in your heart if you're lying to yourself and if you're like keeping yourself from God, if you're putting up that wall, and like you can't ignore what you're wanting to tell yourself and hear God at the same time, because God exists. You know what I mean? Like when you're honest with yourself, that's when God is invited in, and he's always there. But it's like if you're feeling like you're far from him, or you're feeling like I've never heard God's voice, or I've never prayed before, or whatever, like it starts with that being honest. And I think that like when we bring anything to God, that's when he's willing to meet us, is when we're like, this is where I am. And he's like, I'm here already waiting.
What do you think God is telling you, like, in this season of your life? Like, now that you've pursued, you know, this amazing opportunity for yourself, and, like, this amazing business that you've created, and, like, put yourself out there, like, right now, like, even just this week or this day, what do you think God is, like speaking for you?
I love this question. I'm going to ask it back to you.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gotta think.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just trusting myself. Trusting myself. And I think every time I do something and I doubt myself, or like I go back to like I don't know, like I start freaking out, and then I do it, I'm like, but why did I freak out? It worked out. God had a plan. Like it worked out. Like I just feel like this season is like, trust me and trust what I've given you to do what you need to do. And I think when it comes to the business aspect of things, like starting a business and even like being a mindset coach, I think there's a lot of ways where I'm like, I didn't go to school for this, like I don't know enough, or I didn't enough, like the worldly titles, I feel like I don't always have those, and that is like I think the biggest doubt for me is like feeling like I don't know enough or whatever. But it's like, if I vow to continue learning, there's nothing I can't learn. You know what I mean? And I think that the more that I lean into the identity of being like kind of student-like with what I do, and as long as I'm willing to continue to learn, God will open the right doors, God will put the right resources in front of me, and will guide me the right way to keep learning. But I think, the biggest thing just in this season of life is just to continue to trust him, because when you trust in him and trust in myself and what he's given me, that's when I keep taking steps. But the second I start doubting myself, then I close off and I'm like, I can't take the next step.
You like that uncertainty.
But I know that God's calling me to action. But that's scary when I feel like I don't know. You know what I mean? Like especially being seen, back to kind of what we were saying, like posting online and whatever, like I know God's calling me to use my voice and to show up and to speak in front of people. And then there's times where I'm like, but what am I saying? And he's like, trust that you have all that you need for this
You
thing,
have a voice.
for this thing. And if you need more information before the next one, I'll give it to you. You know what I mean? And so taking it that one step at a time.
I love that.
But how about you? Because I love that question.
Oh my gosh. Well, I would say like, I mean, just today, you know what I mean? It's really easy. Like, there is so much power in prayer. And a lot of the times I find myself, like, praying and spending time, you know, in my Bible and, like, actually, like, learning about his word. And I pray certain things, but one of my favorite things, it might be from The Pursuit of Happiness, the movie, but there's a quote or, like, a saying that is, like, kind of popular, kind of not. But it's, like, when you ask God for something, it's one of my favorite things. When you ask God for something, he doesn't just give it to you on a silver platter. He gives you an opportunity to, like, allow yourself to act that way. So, like, when you're asking for patience, which I pray for patience all the time, because who doesn't have, like, a short temper when it comes to driving, you know? Like, it's really easy to be, like, really thinking about yourself in that moment. And so I'll often pray for just, like, patience, even just in like my busy schedules, you know, with like family and friends and everything, and just with myself. So like I'll pray for patience, and then I'm presented with an opportunity where it's like easy, where it's easy for me to like be impatient and frustrated and like not practice that. And even today I found myself like, today was crazy with work, right? Like it's just a crazy season. That's okay. Like that happens and I love it, even though it's a lot. and I was like feeling really, 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 really stressed out. And I was like really impatient with myself and like other people and like my time. And then I had to figure out so many other things, and a lot of things were just falling into place. And then I just took a second. I was like, wait a second. I literally prayed this morning for patience. That was an opportunity, and like that is like the reason that today was the way it was. And like taking a second and not looking at the world as like, why is this happening, but being like, what am I praying for? Like there's so much power in prayer. And also like I do a Bible study with like some of my besties.
I love that.
It's been so fruitful and so fulfilling and so amazing. And like one thing that like we were talking about was again that like factor of he's obsessed with cleaning up your mess. And like regardless of what you do that day, you're not meant to be perfect, right? Like he's not asking for perfection, but he wants to clean up your mess. And so right after you, let's say you sin, like let's say you say something that wasn't true to your heart, you start to gossip. That's kind of where my conviction is recently, like really realizing like, what are my intentions behind, if someone makes me upset, am I going to someone just to like vent about that person, or can I like internally find peace within that and not have to put that person down or like have to vent about it, because sometimes there's no reason to, like people are gonna annoy you, people are gonna piss you off, but like you love a person, so like why would you use your actions to imitate that anyway. But that's something that I've been feeling. And one thing that like we've been talking about truly is just like going to him, not just in the bad, but in the good. And one of my friends mentioned that, like in the happy moments that you face, like if you have a celebration, like praying to him and being like, this is a celebration, you're my first contact, not just being like telling the people around you. It's so easy to just go to God when things are hard and when you need him, but like he wants to be there for your victories and your losses, because he wants to clean up your mess, but he also wants to celebrate with you. Like he wants to be there regardless. And so like right now in that season, I feel like I'm really like internally realizing the power of prayer and like the importance of prayer, and like not just in like the moments of Lord help me with this, but like Lord thank you for this, that kind of a moment.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned community, like your Bible study.
Yeah, I love my girls.
Yes, I think that with Post-Grad, you have a new opportunity to find new community, and there's so much power in who you surround yourself with. And I think whether it's in a Bible study or whether it's in whatever it looks like, finding people that genuinely like support you or genuinely want the best for you or will genuinely be honest with you, because it's hard, and making friends post-grad is a whole nother topic. I'm sure you've already talked about that. If not, you're probably planning on it, but yes, but I think that when we can find those fruitful relationships that encourage honest growth, and sometimes that looks like accountability. And sometimes that, back to my conversation with my boyfriend, he's like, Lindsay, be for real.
Be for real.
But it's like you need those people in your life that are going to be honest, and you need community. And I think that that's where a lot of people post-grad struggle, is they're alone. And they're struggling alone, and they don't tell anyone. And they doom scroll all day because they're alone.
And that comparison comes in, and then everything.
And it's like it all comes together. But it's like, how can you just share like with one person? And it doesn't need to be a friend from college. Like I encourage you to get out of those normal circles and meet new people. Like when I was starting the my creative journey, I guess you could say, and I was potentially interested in being a writer, I joined this writing group at my local library. And I would go and share these short stories that I had written, and the people in this group were older. They were like, seriously, it was like the most like mixed group of people, like people from all walks of life in this group. But even having that community gave me somewhere where I could speak, learn, listen, share, and have a community. And they weren't my college best friend. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can we find community again? Because that's one of the things that's hard to walk away from college, is when you feel like you don't have a community anymore. Find one. Like it's just a matter of seeking it out. And it's there's communities in every regard, whether it be religious or whether it be a hobby that you have. Find those people, because that's what's going to help you when you feel like you're just a small fish in a big pond. Like when you have people that see you, that will make the world of a difference.
That's so real. My Bible study girls, I love them to pieces. I met them through, have you heard of like The Invitation?
I haven't.
It's this, so it's based like everywhere. Like there's a bunch of different groups, but it's just like a community where like anyone can join anytime. And each month they do different events. They've done like dinner parties and worship nights and everything, but it's like just truly like a community of Christian women.
That's
and
incredible.
It's like, it's amazing. And I went there, and the girls who I met, all of them except for one of them is my hometown friend, but all of them went to St. Thomas. I never met them.
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, you're kidding. Like, I think a few people, like, I've hung out with, like, in the past, but then, like, majority of them, like, a lot of them went to St. Thomas. And I was like,
that's crazy.
That's literally crazy. And it's just, like, amazing how God will reveal, you know, the truth and, like, the people who are meant to be in your life in his timing. Like, I didn't meet them at that point in my life for, like, a reason, because obviously I wasn't who I needed to be when I met them. And, like, one thing that I prayed to them about right when I met them, right when we became friends, was I wanted women who would hold me accountable. Like, who wouldn't be afraid to tell me when I'm being wrong, and to tell me when I'm doing wrong, and to tell me when I'm not right. Because as much as, like, you want people to lift you up, like, you need people to be like, no.
To be honest.
To be so brutally honest. And, like, especially someone who is, like, pursuing Christ, like, it's so easy to fall short. It's so easy to let your, like, emotions right now reflect who you are. But to have a community of people that are like, no, actually, you know, I love you. Step back and, like, take a second. You know, what would Jesus do? Like, what would he want you to do in this moment? And, like, how do you feel like you're reflecting that? You know, that kind of a thing. And just taking a second to relook at your heart posture, because it's so easy. Again, gossiping is, like, the easiest thing to do with women, because it's so easy to, like, you just want to talk, you know? And, like, sometimes talking can turn negative really quickly. And, like, having people who will steer people away from that. Like, that was the biggest thing in my friend group in college that I realized, is it was so easy for them to gossip. And if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I started to feel ill participating in that. And, like, I didn't want every time we had a conversation to be like, what was she wearing? And da, 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 da. Like, I don't want to be that negative person. I want to lift people up. And again, that's nothing bad on them. But, like, you start to feel God knocking at your heart, being like, that's not meant for you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And, like, that's not what I have for you. And that's not what you should be saying or what you should be participating in. And, like, even alcohol, like, drinking and, like, partying and everything, like, you hear him speaking truth to you. And to have a community of women that also will speak his words to me through the same way, like, it's like a completely different level of,
that
like,
is incredible.
Amazing. Yeah, it's truly beautiful.
And I think that like, to your point, there's a difference between you reading your Bible in your solitude. There's a lot of growth that happens there. But the next step in your faith is speaking it to others and letting them speak it onto you.
Yep.
That's when, like, it's like taking that next step in your faith of like, this isn't just for me in my private bedroom alone. This is for the world to see and for the world to hold me accountable. That's when I think, like, the next step of that that growth and conviction happens.
Totally. This has been so amazing.
So
I
fun.
have some more questions, just, like, fun questions, but I mean, no one has seen. We have Ollipops and Poppies. I need a sip, and I didn't know. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to just, like, take a second. We've just been, like, digging. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
But Lord. Okay. I have some fun questions for you. I'm going to pull up my handy dandy list because I did not memorize these. Who do you listen to when you need motivation?
Ooh.
Yeah, these are good, juicy ones.
Okay, wait. I need to think about this one.
Take a second.
Who do I listen to?
Yeah. When you need motivation, or even, like, what do you read? Like, who do you turn to when you need motivation and you need a mindset shift?
I think a big one is my boyfriend, actually. So he is an athlete. So I think that, like, aspect helps, but he's also, like, the most high achieving person I know, to be honest. Like, and he's just really good at being honest with me too. And so if I need motivation, like, I usually can just look at what he's doing and I'm like, that's probably what I need to be doing.
Totally.
So I think he's one of them. But podcast wise, pretty much anything, honestly, that is in that kind of personal development category, I think usually sparks an idea. But I think that a big thing when you need motivation, what you actually need is grace. You know what I mean? And I think that, like, a lot of us, if we're like, I just need to get motivated, it's like, no, you need to give yourself grace. If you're not feeling motivated in that moment, there's maybe a reason. Maybe you're being called to rest.
Yeah.
And maybe you actually need, like, support, love, patience, kindness with yourself.
Yep.
So I think sometimes too, like, if I'm needing motivation, what I actually need is a moment of rest or a breather. And my favorite ways to take breathers, I love yoga. Yin yoga specifically. I actually did some right before I came here because I was feeling real stressed out, to be honest with you. And so so I did a little yoga, but and just, like, finding your self-care. You know what I mean? And genuinely, like, if you need that motivation, what you probably need is that care.
Yeah. I love that. That's such a great answer. Slay with that one. Okay. What is your perfect afternoon for clearing your mind?
Ooh, outside time for sure.
Oh.
Like, there's something just so healing about nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially this summer, I think is one of the first times I'm like genuinely leaning into it, like every single day, like getting outside, like putting my feet in the grass, like getting out, like seriously, like and hopefully this winter I want to keep that because I think in winter it's really easy to not go outside, obviously, because it's cold. But I want to try to keep having that in my life because I just think that like all the solutions and peace that you need happens outside.
Totally.
There's this one walk that I do almost every day near my house, and there's this like path through like the woods, and then it's near some lakes and stuff like that, and so I feel like I get like the water, I get the wind, I get the whatever, and genuinely, like if I'm stressed out with like a problem at work, or if I'm stressed out about like not having a solution, and I go for this walk, no phone, no music, I feel like that's important because like if you're having music and you're listening, like you're not listening to like the world around you, you know? And I feel like that's when actually God will speak to me and give me the answers or the solution or the peace or the support or whatever I need in that moment, like through the nature that I'll see. Like literally today I went for a walk and I saw this little turtle swimming in the pond, and I'm like, I just sat there and watched. I'm like, that's so cute, and like
stop me,
right? I'm like, that's so
me
cute.
in another life.
Literally, but yeah, no, but I think that like when you see like just I don't like things of nature, you're like, it's not that deep. This thing that I'm worrying about doesn't literally matter.
Yep.
This turtle's swimming in the pond here, living its best life, and I should be too.
Yeah, like I should be. Literally, that should be me.
That should be me.
It should be me. I love that. That's so real. I think, especially like the winter thing, it's so easy to cut that off because it's just like colder. But even just a minute out in fresh air like clears your mind so much, especially when it's cold. Like when you sit out here, it's muggy. We know that. We feel that right now, probably.
I'm a little sweaty.
Yeah, I'm a little sticky, but like. There's something different about, like, truly standing outside and just having fresh, cold air. Just, like,
nothing like it.
Reborn. Like, you are completely new. You know what I mean?
And
fresh
I think that
mind,
there's
everything.
beauty in winter.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm saying this because I'm a Minnesota girly. Yeah. But, like, I actually do love the snow. And, like, if you choose to see the beauty in winter, I actually also recently made a TikTok about this. But... I think that, like, we're meant to ebb and flow with the seasons. Yeah. And I think that there's a reason why winter and even, like, rain, like, it calls us to the stillness because we can't always be go, go, go. Yeah. And we always try to be, but we can't be. And I think we, like, if we can allow emotions to, or seasons to guide our emotions a little bit more and, like, when it's winter, yes, be introspective, but also there's beauty in the snow. Like, it sparkles when it's sun on it, you know?
And when it's like first
when it's not slushy.
Snow. Yeah, when first snow, when everything's beautiful, like, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I think just finding the beauty, but also welcoming the stillness of whatever season
I love that.
We're in.
That's so true. That's so true. What would you say your spirit animal is?
Well, I already mentioned it, but I think it's a turtle.
Turtle. You would be a turtle?
I love a turtle. My OG answer to that is flamingo. So I just think they're so cute, and they're just chilling, and they're pink, and they're just like... Yeah. They're so fun.
They can balance. They're turners at heart.
Period.
They're dancers at heart, you know?
I just think they're so, like, chill. I don't really know much about flamingos. I see them at the zoo, and they're just, like... like, they're literally posted up, and that's how I'm trying to be. Just posted chilling. Up. They're just chilling and vibing.
Just cash.
So, them or turtles. And what I love about turtles is, in the spring... I see them sunbathing on a stick. And I love that for them. Oh like, I'm like, they're just living their best life, swimming, sunbathing. I'm like, I need to live in the moment like they do.
No, you need to slow down. Because turtles are like,
that.
They have their moment. They have their thing of slowing down. Yeah.
And I need that.
I love that. Okay. What's your favorite hype song? Like, when you need a mood change, like, what would you throw on? It could be couple, too. Like, what's your current ones?
Okay. Well, what first came to mind is my OG hype song from, like, high school, Bodak Yellow. Okay?
Party me! Stop!
But I will say in more recent times, it's more like worship music. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's more like I need to get my heart right.
Get a girl that can do both. Get a girl that can do both.
No. But yeah, that was like my OG, like when I was like literally 15. I'm like walking into a competition, I'm like,
that is what's serving right now.
Yeah, but
that was
also, mind you, that was like 15, 16. So
girl,
times have changed.
If you would look at my old playlist, I thought I was like, I thought I was like intimidating with my headphones, and I was like, you don't know what I'm listening to. It's just like the aura that you're trying to give.
Yeah, but
and then you look back and you're like, how did that shift?
It has shifted. Also, one of my favorite this is like a weird like hype song, but it just gets my heart in a great spot.
Yeah.
Is The Dog Days Are Over.
Yeah, that's a good
feel-good
one.
song.
I feel like I think it's easy to forget that song, and then you listen to it, and you're like,
You know
yeah,
what?
that was fire.
That and
That was
Unwritten.
fire.
Both
Yes.
those songs, I'm like,
Any oldie song,
I know.
honestly, like truthfully, any oldie song, like I love a
Yeah.
good oldie. I feel like that's like my vibe right now, like ABBA.
okay,
Is it
yes.
ABBA or ABBA? ABBA. I pronounce it ABBA, but I was corrected on it recently.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't know what I can't remember what they corrected it to be, but I
Oh.
honestly I'm gonna keep calling it ABBA.
Okay.
I call it ABBA.
Yeah. I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. You know what?
ABBA it is.
ABBA. That if it's wrong, don't quote me. Just know. I know ABBA in my heart. Okay. Okay. I feel like this relates. You kind of touched base on this, but like specifically, what would you tell your younger self if you could?
Ooh. Not to be too deep, but just truly that she's enough.
Yeah.
You know, like I just think that
Oh,
like
Lindsay.
there's so many like just me, like younger me, but also younger everybody. Like it actually kind of breaks my heart to think that they just want to be seen, and they just want to be enough, and you know what I mean. And so I think just to like for my younger self, but also for just anybody, like you don't have to do or earn or perform to be worthy. You just are that by being alive.
Yeah.
Like you are already worthy.
Oh my
And yeah, you don't need anything else outside of that. And I think if you can know that, and like if I knew that earlier, or if young people could know that, they would waste so much less time pursuing things that aren't actually good for them. You know what I mean? Or they don't need. They don't need to earn that title, or they don't need to get that job, or they don't need to get that degree, because that's not, they're doing it for the wrong reasons. Back to that conversation. But yeah, I think just giving her a hug and be like, girl, you're enough.
No, truthfully, that's, I mean, such a simple thing, but like we need that reminder, like even now, like
Even
in
now.
the hard times, you know, like you are enough, even because comparison does get to you, and words do get to you, and days do get to you when they're long, and you just can't, you know, you have one of those days where you spill your coffee everywhere, and then your outfit doesn't feel good, and then you don't feel the best, and you're tired, and da-da-da, and then you're like, bro, like what am I doing, you know what I mean, like how do I push through? But like we are, you know, I love that little reminder, because that's so,
Thank you.
everyone always forgets that. And last question, okay? What or who inspires you the most?
Okay, inspires. So we talked about motivate.
Yeah.
Inspires. Ooh.
Like it could be like someone you looked up to when you were younger, or it can be like even.
Okay.
Okay.
I think honestly, for me, I love being a role model to people. And I think what inspires me is the idea that somebody could be watching me and looking up to me. So in a weird way, it's kind of about myself, but it's more like about who I can be for other people.
Self-confidence, yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
totally.
like back to our conversation of me looking at the older dancers at the studio or whatever and being so inspired by them, knowing that I'm now that on that other side of it. I want to, for the girls that I coach, or for the teams that I work with, or for whoever watches my TikToks or whatever, like I want to be that role model for people. And I think I get so inspired, like thinking of them on the other side of either the screen or the conversation. Listening to me is, I want to do this for them. I want to share what I'm learning for them and give all the feedback and what wisdom that I can to them, because if I can make anyone's day 1% easier, then I've done my job. Like that's like all for me.
For real.
So, yeah.
I love that. That is, I mean, because that's true. Like everyone, like, I mean, when I grew up, it was my dad, and like he is such an inspiration to me. But like truly, like as you grow up, you become like the person that you want to be, and then that truly is, you get more inspired by yourself and like your role in other people's lives and like how people view you. And I think that's so real, especially when you have something to say. Like you specifically, you are such a great light, and like I think that it's just like the best, I guess, gift for you as well, to just be like, look at where I was, and like look at where I'm going, and look at how people see me, like, and how I inspire. Like I love that.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
This has been so fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously, it's been so fun.
Yes.
I think we could talk for 5 more hours.
No, I
probably.
literally our chatter. Yeah, we really have some good banter.
Yes.
I love it. No, I thank you so much for coming. Yeah. I mean, this is closing. We kind of like ignored. We've truly been having a conversation, and like the camera's just kind of been there, but like this is closing my post-grad series, and I really wanted you to be like the closing episode because of just the mindset shift that comes. I think that's like the last thing that people think of is, we think about getting a job, we think about what we're going to do with our friends, how we're going to date, we think about like our health, right? Like we think about ourselves first, but we don't think about like our mental selves, like our mental strength and like our mental position and how we look at things. And like I knew that you were just going to inspire and preach and speak, and like that's what you did, and I'm so thankful that you came on because this was so much fun.
Thank you. And I just want to pour into you again of like everyone listening, like you creating this space. I remember when I was post-grad, this would have helped me for sure because I'm like, what the heck now?
Yeah.
And so thank you for what you do. And if you guys are listening, give her some love. Seriously, like, because also I'll speak to when you're posting and doing the thing, like you don't always get that acknowledgement or that you don't know that people are watching or listening, even though you know they are because you see the numbers, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So if you feel called to, just give her some love, okay?
I love you. Thank you. Yes, if you like what Lindsey has had to say, which I do, okay, follow her. She has 2 accounts. Lindsey Soda, right, is your main.
Soda Lindsey, yeah.
Soda Lindsey. Thank you.
SODALNDSEY.
It was just flipped.
You got it, girl.
And then your business, With Love by Lindsey.
Yes.
Slay.
Yes.
I love that. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know. Let Lindsey know. Text her, DM her, anything if you know her. Yeah, if you don't, just don't randomly text her. But like if you know her, text her, DM her, say something to her. And if you enjoyed anything that I had to say, if you enjoyed this series, please let me know. It's been so wonderful. And I will talk to you very, very soon. I love you. Bye.
Thanks, guys.